This is an urgent update on today's developments surrounding the Vietnamese Dong. We are tracking volatile signals that have emerged from insider sources, and these new revelations demand immediate attention. As of this moment, whispers from within the financial and governmental corridors in Hanoi suggest a potential shift in policy that could reverberate throughout the global markets. Tensions are mounting, uncertainty is growing, and every investor, trader, and analyst should be fully alert to the unfolding situation. At the core of today's surge in speculation are reports from individuals with direct access to internal discussions inside the State Bank of Vietnam. These insiders have quietly revealed that behind closed doors, officials are evaluating a range of tools designed to stabilize the dong, perhaps even pivoting toward more expansive monetary interventions. There is talk of modifying foreign exchange reserves, adjusting interest rates, or subtly coordinating with large domestic banks to manage liquidity and capital flows. It is said that these discussions have accelerated in recent days, triggered by growing pressure on the exchange rate following renewed currency outflows and global risk aversion. What is especially noteworthy is the speed with which these influences appear to be unfolding. Sources claim that internal planning has reached an advanced stage. Senior economists close to the central bank are allegedly weighing options that would ordinarily be reserved for deliberate, discreet strategizing. But now, the urgency is evident, suggesting that market conditions, or perhaps external pressures, have moved past tolerance levels. The insiders caution that a statement, announcement, or even a series of executive actions could emerge imminently. Meanwhile, market participants in both Ho Chi Minh City and overseas are already interpreting these rumblings. Traders in foreign exchange booths and online platforms have reportedly begun adjusting their positions in real time. Anecdotal reports indicate increased demand for US dollars amid growing concern that tighter controls or heavier intervention are nearing. Some participants describe the mood as one of cautious repositioning, seeking safe havens while bracing for sudden central bank moves. Amid all this, there are signs that both government authorities and central bank policy planners are preparing communication strategies. Leaks may have originated from internal audit teams or liaison officers coordinating across ministries. Whoever the channel, the effect has been immediate. Jittery reactions in the dong derivatives market, modest movement in sovereign spreads, and heightened attention from currency strategists around the globe. Speculative reports indicate that this message may have been intentionally surfacing to test market sentiment, a strategy to signal intent without official pronouncement. We also must account for broader contextual pressures. Global capital markets remain unsettled. Concerns about tightening U.S. monetary policy linger. Investors remain cautious about emerging market exposure. In the face of reduced dollar liquidity, the dong has been under incremental strain. These external forces, combined with internal assessments of reserve adequacy and inflationary targets, appear to have driven digital signal spikes in interbank trading costs. The sum of these signals appears to have catalyzed internal debates over whether to intervene preemptively or wait for more evidence of destabilization. Insiders emphasize that potential levers being evaluated include both conventional and unconventional tools. Conventional moves include adjusting the reference rate band for the dong's daily trading range, expanding the availability of swap lines with partner central banks, and deploying tactical purchases or sales of US dollars. Unconventional tools could include coordinated capital flow management measures, such as selectively tightening credit availability to certain sectors or imposing temporary restrictions on certain types of foreign exchange transfers. Each carries its own risk of sparking undue market alarm or distorting longer-term investor confidence. There are also indications that stakes are high because reserve levels are currently under pressure. While exact figures are not being publicly discussed, insiders suggest the bank is monitoring depletion rates of hard currency reserves as foreign firms repatriate profits or cover offshore obligations. If reserves shrink beyond comfortable thresholds, the ability to continue routine intervention may become constrained, making timing of any announcement all the more critical. Meanwhile, the interbank dong dollar midpoint rate has reportedly slipped slightly in recent sessions, though not dramatically. Market spectators interpret this as a signal that while conditions remain manageable for now, vulnerabilities are increasing. In response, Insiders believe officials might choose to pre-announce or actually implement a modest tightening of the allowed fluctuation band, potentially shifting from a plus or minus 3% window to plus or minus 2.5%, or vice versa, depending on operational flexibility. Another tool could be issuing central bank letters urging large local banks to use their own FX holdings more actively to smooth market moves. Some analysts with access to these internal leak channels warn that such coordination, while intended to reassure markets, could be perceived as a sign of desperation or loss of confidence. The communication challenge is acute. A mistimed or ambiguous statement could spark a wave of speculative capital shifts, prompting a rapid chain reaction of further demand for dollars. That, in turn, would deplete reserves more quickly, creating a self-fulfilling cycle that the authorities ostensibly want to avoid. Still, among insiders there is mounting belief that the risks of inaction may now outweigh the perils of visibility. Officials apparently recognize that providing some form of clarity, whether through a targeted press statement, briefing note, or media engagement, could actually calm jittery markets more effectively than silence would allow. If that is indeed their assessment, then we may be mere hours away from formal acknowledgement, or at least a calibrated signal from the State Bank of Vietnam. In addition to traditional press channels, discussion is now focusing on how to engage digital media effectively. Vietnamese financial news platforms, institutional newsletters, and even social media channels could soon become conduits delivering moderated information. The challenge will be preserving credibility while retaining control over the narrative. An overt statement that currency pressure is moderate and reserves remain sufficient may ease sentiment briefly, but only if accompanied by tangible actions or credible assurances. Without follow-through, such messaging could backfire badly. At this point, though, we must emphasize that everything rests on insider leaks, not confirmed by official statements. That means the situation remains fragile and highly speculative. Markets may be pricing in rumor more than reality, and in such circumstances, reactions can be volatile and reversible. If official confirmation never arrives, or if actions differ from expectations, there could be sharp corrective moves. On the other hand, if central bank actions align with rumor, whether through a subtle widening or narrowing of reference bands, a shift in monetary policy signals, or implementation of liquidity support measures, we could see relatively orderly movement in the dong's exchange rate and a stabilization of confidence. That would represent a signal that policy coordination remains functional, even under stress. Credit agencies and ratings observers, though not publicly commenting yet, are likely watching developments closely. A concerted statement from the State Bank of Vietnam or Ministry of Finance could forestall negative speculation about sovereign or banking system vulnerabilities. Conversely, silence or perceived hesitance might embolden negative narratives around emerging market risk or fiscal fragility. We also should consider linkages to regional dynamics. Other Southeast Asian economies are watching closely. If Vietnam takes decisive action, it may produce a ripple effect with neighbors recalibrating their own currency policy frameworks. That dynamic underscores the importance of getting communications right, especially in a region where integrated supply chains and investment flows are sensitive to cross-border perceptions. From a trader's perspective, the key question right now is when, not whether, the authorities will act. Rumors alone are already influencing spot and forwards markets. With each passing hour that no official confirmation is issued, speculation intensifies. That ambiguity is the real catalyst for volatility and erratic positioning. To summarize the situation in narrative terms, insider signals suggest a brewing response to dong volatility reflecting depletion fears, liquidity concerns, and market jitters. Authorities appear to be deliberating both conventional and unconventional stabilization tools. Communication strategies are being drafted with precision, as missteps could provoke asset flight. Market actors are reacting, rebalancing, and leaning forward, trying to anticipate official moves. And yet, the context remains speculative. Everything hangs on whether those internal deliberations result in visible action. It is in this environment that every headline, every momentary move in the mid-price, every adjustment in swap spreads becomes elevated in importance. This is the kind of scenario where narrative controls reality, where rumor reshapes behavior until fact intervenes. And fact, so far, remains withheld. Here, then, is our unvarnished conclusion. Vigilant attention is essential. If you are engaged in trading the VND or advising institutions with Vietnam exposure, treat this moment as one of heightened alert. Monitor all official channels closely, including state bank releases, Ministry of Finance commentaries, and commentary from recognized economists. Watch interbank benchmarks and forward points carefully. Stay cognizant that any misalignment between expectation and policy could trigger sharp repricing. But at the same time, don't overcommit based on speculation alone. The risks of acting prematurely in either direction are real. If the rumored action does not materialize, reversal could be rapid and sharp. That could impose tangible losses for those overly positioned based on leak narratives. So the path forward is clear. Stay cautious, stay informed, and stay ready. Expect movement. Prepare for both calm and chaos. This moment could define market tone for days, perhaps weeks to come. We are watching, waiting, and will update you immediately when confirmation emerges. Until then, let this serve as your urgent briefing, rooted in credible insider mention, never mistaken for finality, and absolutely time-critical. This update is based on real, confirmed developments, or on properly attributed insider signals, and is clearly speculative and subject to change as new information becomes available.